we would say that intelligence was something that has been under in research and study for quite a few decades or even centuries, we can say. But emotional intelligence is fairly new topic, and a lot of the things are being uncovered each and every year. And here, I am to honestly say that this is my first webinar on this particular topic, and I have done my best to understand this and research on it and try to give you whatever best I can do today. So, in case of any questions, since it is we are doing it in a webinar mode, I will be able to take questions in chat for now, and later, the last 15 minutes, we will allocate for more questions from you. So, how are you all feeling today? Can I have people typing in the chat? So, Niharika, you can probably read out what's going on the chat.
So Srinivasa is saying, wow.
So there are a lot of feelings. Okay, when you say when we morning when people ask you how are you feeling? You always say I'm okay, I'm good. We don't know much, right? We don't even we drill deeper into right what are the real feelings, what are the real emotions that are going on. When you say feelings, no, there are always thoughts behind it. Are there any thoughts going on in your mind at this moment? Any of you would like to share what is going on behind these feelings? What are the thoughts going on in your mind? Any feeling comes up with a thought, and thought triggers a feeling. And there are also things called emotions. What emotions? Emotions that you're going on, that you're going through today.
So Meena is saying thoughtful, confused. Mamta is saying responsible. Too many things are going on in Meena's mind. Gayatri is
Yeah.
still typing. I'm waiting for her answer.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
lovely.
so Gayatri is feeling a little dull and trying to introspect why it happened like this.
So you see the lot of feelings that are coming here. Wow is one feeling, thoughtful, dull, and confused is one feeling. So a lot of feelings, and if you see all the feelings have a thought behind it, right? Which is creating that feeling inside us. And there are emotions, okay, that is also going on in each of you. So let me move on. Okay, so we spoke about, brought in the word called feelings, then thoughts, which is going behind the feeling, and we also spoke about emotions. Okay, but what are emotions? We are all social media age, right? We all know emoticons. So I tried putting some emoticons on top, okay? But what are emotions really are? They are actually real-time psychological states. The state I am in now, which is real now, okay? Which actually comprise of thoughts, feelings, expression, behaviors, and inclination to act. Okay, so this is the definition of emotions. And when we say emotions, we saw that some people type their emotions and feelings. But can you type more emotions that you know about? If you can, let's see if how many emotions we can get in the chat today. Actually, there are hundreds of emotions. Like we only know a few. We can only list down a few. Actually, there are hundreds of emotions.
Sarayu is saying angry, happy, sad,
Yeah,
happy, blissful. We are getting a lot of answers.
yeah. Okay, I'll wait for some more answers then.
Yeah, some are sharing emojis as well. Of saying it's
Okay.
sad emoji,
Okay.
peaceful.
Nice, nice.
Right, ma'am.
Good. We are getting very good number of emotions today. Okay. So there are a lot of blends of emotions. Okay. If you see, there are variation within, as I said, there are hundreds of emotions, but there is a way to classify them. The researchers who study, people who study emotion, they have classified them into some basic emotions, and there are subcategories of those emotions, which all totally becomes hundreds of emotions. Okay. A lot of blends, lot of variation. If you see, for example, anger is emotion. Okay. In that, you can say furious. Furious means you are very angry, right? Outrage. It is like too much of angry and resentful. Okay, all these are subcategories of anger. So if you see like that, they are trying to classify emotions based on the basic emotions that we go through. Somebody said blissful. So if you see happy, blissful could be one of the subcategory of happy. Take this example I'm giving. Okay? So let's do some small short activity and you can type it. Okay, let's do a match the following here. So the girl on the first, okay, there are seven numbered pictures you have, and you have A to G here. So what we are going to do, we are going to map numbers to the alphabets. Okay, let's go one by one. Let's see like how many are you able to get right. Okay. So the first lady, what is she doing? Number one, what emotion do you think she is expressing here?
Someone saying E, happy,
Yeah.
E,
Yeah, right. Oh, E. Yes,
happy.
E is happy.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Correct.
Yes.
All of you are right. Yes. So the lady in the first image is happy. What about the lady in the second image?
Surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, she's surprised. Right. Yeah, surprise is C, correct. What about the guy in number 3?
Sad.
Yeah, he's sad. Okay. What about 4?
Angry.
Yeah, he's angry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone is guessing right. Angry.
correct. Very good. Okay, what about number 5?
Fear.
Yeah, this guy is scared. Yeah, right. You're absolutely right. And what about 6?
Contempt.
Right. We are just left with 2, contempt and disgust. Yes, this guy is showing contempt. And of course, the lady who on the 7 is showing disgust. It's like, oh, disgusting. Okay. Very nice. Okay. So, yeah, good activity. So, we kind of try to match the basic emotions here. That's what we are trying to do here. Okay. So tell me something. What does actually emotional mean? When you say somebody is emotional, what does it mean to you?
So, whenever somebody says that one is emotional, usually it is perceived as somebody who is weak, but which
Yeah.
is not. So,
Yeah.
that's the usual perception that I wanted to share. And people who are emotional are not weak. They may be stronger than the others who do not emote or who do not
Exactly.
show their emotions. But all of us have emotions. We have different ways of expressing it. That's all I wanted to say.
Great. Yeah, you are absolutely on to the point actually. So when we say emotional, no, we think that these are the people who take things to the heart. Okay, right? Somebody is like, hey, I'm just chilling and why do you take it seriously? So that's what we mean when people are emotional. Or sometimes when we feel that people are not able to control their feelings and emotions, we say we call them emotional. Or sometimes if people are not able to think rationally, if they are more emotional than rational, than logical, then we say those people are emotional, right? So these are the ways we attribute the word emotional to people. Okay. So as you say, generally it's a field that emotional people are weak, right? But emotions are actually a gift to mankind, if you'd ask me. Okay. The amount of emotion that man is able to, humans are able to show, none of the creatures, none of the species can show so many emotions, right? So, how do we actually use this gift? How do you convert this gift into our strength? Okay, how do you do that? We have to, first of all, be aware of what we are going through. Okay, self awareness of our emotions. We should know how to control them, in what scenarios, how to use what emotions, okay, to the best of our, so that it will serve us, okay, not go negatively against us. Plus, we have to understand what emotions are other people going through, because emotions are not said through words, they are felt, right? So, how are we going to understand other people's emotion? And through that, how are we going to use it to communicate effectively and build a good relationship? Okay, all this together forms a very big umbrella which is associated with intelligence, that is emotional intelligence. Okay, so in order to make emotions, we need to add intelligence to it. Okay, let's see. Let now we come to our topic today, of the day today. So, what is emotional intelligence? Okay, to put it in very simple terms, it's nothing but the capability of a person to be aware and manage his or her emotions and possess the ability to understand and manage the emotions of others as well. Okay, in very simple terms. When I say intelligence, we all know what is intelligence. Nobody has to be explained what is intelligence. Why? Because from the time psychology started, I think psychology as a discipline started about 200 years ago. When the time it started, the first thing man was always interested is to understand, to study human intelligence. Okay, so a lot of studies, lot of research are already have been done, and they have brought out various ways of measuring different components of intelligence. Right? When I say different components of intelligence, reasoning could be one component. Okay, solving problems could be another component. Okay, concept making. Okay, abstract thinking. All these are components of intelligence. So, and there are ways to measure them, which we call it as IQ. Right? IQ is a very famous concept, and IQ is very widely used to for first to assess students, okay, to for college entrances, school entrances, and also to get procure them a job, right? So all this IQ test is widely used, measurement of intelligence is widely used in all these places. Okay. Now suddenly what is EQ? Just like how we are measuring intelligence, emotional intelligence also needs to be measured. Okay, and that's where this quotient of EQ was introduced. Okay. Okay, now why not just IQ? Now We have been living with IQ for 200 years, and suddenly where is this EQ coming? Why should we measure intelligence? Why emotional intelligence? Okay, a lot of study has gone through, as I said, and they have found out that IQ contributes to only 20% to the factors that determine their life success. Okay, if there are 10 students who are taken in a company based on the same level of IQ, now 15 years down the line, do you think all of them would have been successful, or all of them would be in the same career ladder as others? Definitely no, right? We have been seeing it is happening. Okay, so it means only the IQ of those people are only contributing to something, and there are 80% of other factors that contribute to their success, right? So in those 80%, emotional intelligence is one of the major components. Now what does it measure? It measures the ability to motivate oneself, to persist in the face of frustration, to control impulse, to delay gratification, to regulate one's mood, keep distress from swapping the ability to think. This is very important. Okay, to empathize, and finally to hope for. Okay, if you see all these measurements that I spoke here, none of them are part of IQ. IQ never measures these, but these are very important for one's success in life. I'm moving on to others. We saw the difference. Actually, I kind of covered already the difference between IQ and EQ. One thing that I would like to add, IQ is something inborn, and not much can be done to change the IQ level, but EQ is not so. Okay, the good news about EQ is emotional intelligence is that it can be learned and developed by anyone, whichever age group is, in whichever context a person living in is, the emotional intelligence part can be learned and developed. So, which means even at 70, if I feel that I want to be successful, more successful, and I want to improve myself, it is still a possibility. Now, coming to the pillars of emotional intelligence. See, when we read emotional intelligence as a subject, it is quite vast. It is an ocean on its own. Okay. So, what people are trying to do is to segregate, to categorize into few pillars. Okay. The four main pillars of emotional intelligence are self awareness, managing emotions, social awareness, and relationship management. To put it in one line, self awareness is nothing but being aware about your emotions first so that we get to know about ourselves better. Managing emotion is once you are aware about emotions, you start analyzing them. Whether are they serving my purpose, are they not serving my purpose? If at this moment it is not serving my purpose, what is that I can do to fix it? Or if the same situation occurs in future, how am I going to handle it better? By understanding my emotions better. This is managing emotions. Okay. Social awareness, nothing but empathy. Okay. Empathy is understanding others' emotions. It is definitely not sympathy. Okay. Sympathy is different. Sympathy is like if person is feeling low, how are we going to offer our support to them? But empathy is knowing about what emotions the other person is going about when he's communicating, when he's trying to say something, or when he's not saying something as well. Okay. Relationship management is a final pillar where it is most important. Eventually, when we are aware about our emotions and aware about others' emotions, how are we going to rightly utilize it to communicate and build a powerful relationship that will give a positive impact? So basically, these pillars we see, it could cover even one day of training. So I'm giving it very shortly in this webinar today. Okay, I want to do some activities. The next four slides, I'm going to give a scenario, and there'll be four options to choose from. You have to identify which is the best way to handle that scenario with emotional intelligence. So let me read out the first scenario here. Your parents ask you to be with your aged grandmother near her bedside while they are away for important work. So first two activities I have tried to put it for students, and last two activities is for the work environment. Okay. But you have important school assignment to submit that evening. As a young adult, what will you do in the situation to handle it with emotional intelligence? Okay. The first option is ask your parents to find another way out for the situation as you have urgent tasks to complete, because task is important for you. Okay, agree to them, but focus on your task. Anyway, it's okay. Grandmother will not need much attention. Come on, right? Every time it's not going to be an emergency for your grandmother, right? Sacrifice your work for the sake of your grandmother. That is one way to look at it. The final option is shift your work table to grandmother's room and be with her and also do your work. Okay, can you tell me what option would you choose? Would an emotionally intelligent person will choose?
D.
Who said D?
Yeah, this is Saryu, but all of us in the chat box also are saying D.
Great, exactly. Yes, that's a good way. Okay, so it means that we are all emotionally intelligent already. So the next scenario is you and your friend having a difference of opinion. From your point of view, you are 100% right, but the friend has a different opinion and doesn't agree to your point. So there are four options here. Wonder why this friend is not able to understand your point. Consider him as eccentric person. Start to distance from him whenever this topic comes again. This is one way to look at it. Stick to your point and argue till you prove him you're right. Okay, because you're a strong person, you see. Number C is try to understand from him why he has that opinion and then express how you see it differently. Conclude the topic after appreciating the uniqueness that each one of you have. The final option is you don't want to upset him or come on, he's your friend. Agree to him, what big deal? You're not going to lose anything. Agree to him that he's right. So which do you think is the best option to go with it?
Most of the participants are saying C, ma'am.
Correct, exactly. So, activity I have taken from a book by Dalip Singh on emotional intelligence work. Okay, so these are work related scenarios. Okay, so you have been denied promotion by the management for which you are eligible. Moreover, one of your juniors have been promoted. Very, very common scenario, right? All of us at one point of time we would have gone through this, I guess. You are emotionally upset and you feel frustrated. Okay, what will you do? So there are four options here. Talk it over with your boss and ask for reconsideration of the management decision. Second, start abusing the colleague who superseded you. Third, move the court and obtain stay order to get justice. If you want to fight, huh? Number four is identify your shortcomings and try to improve your performance. Which do you think is the right option?
Siddharth is saying A, Mamta is saying A, Sanj is saying D, Gayatri is also saying D, Srinivasa is saying D or A, Sarayu is saying D, and would have been different 10 years ago, Gayatri is saying.
First of all, I thank all of you for your active participation to all the activities here. And some of you said yes, yay, because that generally that most of us do. It's very common. Okay, of course, we are not fighting with the boss, but we're just trying to take over and then put up a point, which is more commonly done. But if you see, if you want to really use your emotional intelligence here, identify your shortcomings and try to improve your performance is the right option. So I think Sans and Gayatri and somebody else also said that. So which is right. So when you look from the employee point of view, yes, A looks to be the right one. But when you look it from the manager point of view, or when you look at from overall organization point of view, if you see you will see that number D is more emotionally intelligent option. Now going on to the last one, after weeks of merger of two largest financial firms, hundreds of employees were expected to lose their jobs. This also is something that we have already many times gone through, heard, read in the papers, right? You being the GM, general manager, were told to convey to the employee the decision of the manager. Okay? How will you convey the message? The A is give a gloomy picture and tell them that you have no option but to fire out of them because you are not totally in agreement with what is going on. But then you have to convey it. B, give a bright picture. Tell them that the company will be blessed with talented people from both firms. Tell them that yes, now we're taking both good ones and we are going to make a big good company. Is one way to tell. Number three is tell them that you will collect more information to be fair and update them every few days on how things will take shape. Okay, basically kind of giving the point of doubt to them. Number D is announce the decision and let the employees take a decision about what they want. What do you think is the right option here?
Gayatri is saying C, Srinivasa is saying D, Sanj is saying C.
So one thing is sure, nobody wants to do that
Mamta
A,
is
right?
saying D, ma'am.
Okay, great, Mamta.
Somebody saying D also.
Okay. Let's go over every point here. Okay, first I see that nobody gave A, which is right. Yes, we are feeling sad about it, but we don't want to pass on this gloomy picture to our employees, right? So we'll not do go for A for sure. B, what you do is it is more like we are communicating without any empathy. Yes, 50% of the employees are retained, good talents are retained, but what about the rest 50? When you're going to communicate, even the rest 50 are going to be there in the participants, right? Yes, B is not the right option. Okay, C, when you say C, you know that 50% are going to be cut, but you're sounding as if that there is still a point of doubt. It's okay, you wait. Maybe you're increasing their anxiety. You see here, wait, I keep telling you, though you know what is going to happen, right? So this is also not the exact way to handle it. The right way to handle it is D. Because we know the decision. We have to announce the decision and also let the employees know that I know this is what it is. Now you guys have to take a decision. Probably extend your helping hand. Maybe that I could have added it also. Like if people want to talk to me, ask questions, please free to walk in so that make them comfortable So D is the right option to go for here. So now I'm moving on to this is the last point that I'm going to cover today, like how to improve your EQ. I have two videos here. In this video, various points on how to go about improving your IQ.
Emotional intelligence refers to the ability to recognize, interpret, and process emotions in yourself and others. While genetics, upbringing, and environment all play a role, there are steps you can take to develop your emotional intelligence over time. Get to know yourself. Emotionally intelligent people are self-aware. They have a realistic appreciation of their strengths and weaknesses and how they come across to others. Peer feedback is one way of improving your self-awareness and may uncover a few of your emotional blind spots. Learn your triggers. Linked to the notion of self-awareness is knowing how you are likely to respond in particular situations. Think about how you felt the last time you were under pressure. Did these feelings help or hinder you? Recognizing emotions and the source of these emotions can shift your emotional state. Empathize. Seeing things from someone else's perspective will help you understand their values and beliefs. This is important when it comes to motivating and engaging others. Make a conscious effort to get to know your colleagues. Ask open questions and actively listen to what they have to say, rather than simply waiting for your turn to speak. Be on the lookout for body language and other non-verbal signs, as these may tell you more than someone is willing to express out loud. Own your emotions. Part of being emotionally intelligent is about taking responsibility for the way you interact with others. If someone upsets you, pause and reflect on why their actions led you to feel this way, instead of reacting impulsively. Recognize that a conversation is a two-way interaction, and it takes two people to make you angry, sad, or frustrated. Go with your gut. Finally, listen to your body. If your stomach starts doing backflips every time you speak to a senior manager, or your muscles tense up before you go into a meeting, what does this tell you? Counterintuitive as it might seem, emotions can be a valuable source of information when making rational decisions at work. Remember, emotional intelligence isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about learning how to recognize, process, and channel them in a way that benefits you and your team. Enhancing your emotional intelligence requires effort, but it can be achieved with sustained practice.
So how many points were they listing? I think they were listing 5 points, right? The first thing is like get to know and understand yourself. Okay. Second is learn your triggers. Okay. Now you have to understand that where is this emotion getting triggered from, why it is getting triggered. Third is empathize with others. Fourth one is own your emotions. Okay. So don't put it on to others. It's because of them that I'm feeling sad. Like try to own your emotions. And finally, they are asking you to go with your guts. Try to find out, okay, what is the intuition saying, right? So it's like kind of putting in a nutshell how we can, what are the tools that we can use to improve your EQ. So this is just 2 minutes of the 7-minute clip I'm going to play, but I'll give you the link of this whole video later on so you can watch it. I'll give it part of the handouts, okay?
Are messed up and make a lot of trouble for you. If you were scared a lot when you were a child, you might grow up having a core feeling of being afraid. You might overprotect yourself so that no one can hurt you ever again. Everyone who was hurt badly as a child has a
Like, I'll give you an overview what I'm trying to play in this 2 minutes. Basically, one of the here in this 2 minutes, they're discussing how to use the emotion of fear. Okay, from where it stems and how you can use it effectively. Okay, so it starts from. Okay, let me start again.
Up and make a lot of trouble for you. If you were scared a lot when you were a child, you might grow up having a core feeling of being afraid. You might overprotect yourself so that no one can hurt you ever again. Everyone who was hurt badly as a child has a deep need to feel safe and a desire for someone to love them and connect with them, and heavy protection doesn't give you this. You can tell or show someone you trust that you are afraid. You can welcome the feeling of being afraid and listen to it, instead of ignoring it and covering it up. And the fear will then become more manageable. You can also change fear by means of self-compassion and assertive anger. You can stand up for yourself without driving people away. You can handle criticism, even if it hurts. You can take the chance and let people in, even if you're afraid of getting hurt again. You feel and function better when you're aware of and deal with your real emotions, even if they're painful. Your real emotions help you to get what you really need, both from yourself and others. You feel and function better when your real emotions are fresh and new, instead of stuck old feelings. You can trust your emotions if doing so gives you what you need. Stuck and misguiding emotions can change if you learn to attend to your emotions, are curious and patient with your own emotions, talk about and show your real emotions, learn to accept having different emotions, and change emotions with emotions.
So here it's just a small clipping here. It says like, what does it say mainly? To show your real emotions. If they are giving example of fear, okay, when you tend to be afraid, you try to overprotect yourself. So what happens is you overprotect so much that you do not allow it to come out and you do not share with anyone. So what happens? No one can really come and help you. So any emotions that we have, if you are trying to uncover it up, okay, there is a problem. So you have to bring out your emotions, is what it's trying to say, so that you can get external help to vent it out, right? So this is what it says. Like, first you have to learn to attend to your emotions, okay, and be curious and patient with your own emotions. First of all, okay, I'm feeling angry. No, why I'm feeling angry? No, so take it slowly. Take one by one. Just observe yourself, your own emotions. Then talk about it. It's very important. Show your real emotions when you talk about it. Okay. Learn to accept having different emotions. Everybody goes through so many different emotions. Accept it. It need not that if I'm crying, it's something that I need to hide. Okay. It's also important emotions to exhibit. Okay. And then finally change emotions with emotions and using external help. Okay. So actually we come to the end of this session today. And thank you for all for being such a nice participant, very active, and I'm so happy with your participation today. This is my email ID. You can note it. So there is a idrlabs.com who have developed a standardized EQ test, which it has consists of 28 questions, and you can use it to assess your EQ, and you will get your reports as well on this. Okay. If you think you need more consultation once you have the report, I'll be very glad to help you with. So you can contact me. And the second, okay, it's an emotional awareness exercise which I have used myself, and I found it very useful to understand my emotions. So I have taken this exercise from a book called "Coach the Person, Not the Problem." This is by Marcia Reynolds, and it's a very very famous book on life coaching. Okay, what it has is the exercise is it's a 3 weeks exercise, and it helps you to recognize your emotions and feelings which you have never even thought of. So it helps you to track your emotions throughout the day on a paper or digitally, so you can check if you notice any patterns to the emotions. You generally many times the same problems keep happening to us and we don't know what is the cause of it. When you start observing your emotions, you start finding out the patterns. So once you observe the pattern, ready to break the patterns and everything, lot of changes can be brought about in your life. This is how a change happens in your life. Or else you keep sticking to the same routine, keep the same happiness and sadness, keep rotating in a cycle. And if you want to break out of this pattern, first you need to understand there are any patterns in your emotions that are blocking you. Okay. The next is I have put some interesting links, at least in your lifetime. Read this book by Daniel Goleman. He is kind of, you can say, a father of emotional intelligence. I think he published this book around 1995. Till then, there was no talk about emotional intelligence. So he brought out this book, actually revolutionized the way in which intelligence is looked at. The name of the book is Emotional Intelligence: Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. So I would definitely recommend all of you to read this book. Okay, now I'm opening the forum for any questions.
The main part of a child's life is in school, like 15 years. Those 15 years, you are told to control your emotions. You are trained that way. The child who's having a high IQ is being praised, and you are supposed to control your emotions in school itself. So 15 years of that, 15 to 17 years of that, your life goes with that.
Yeah.
How are you expecting that person to change after that?
See, first of all, you are right. See, as I said, emotional intelligence is something that come up in importance only recently, but it is bound to change in due course the way we are bringing up the children. Okay, not only at home but also in the school atmosphere. So let's be hopeful of that. First of all, second thing, the question that you asked me: how are we going to deal with the current day kids who are like made to think more in terms of IQ, right? See, EQ, as we said, it is not something that we are born with. A child is born free. So all this change and everything comes when the child is grown, right? Is when we are growing. So EQ is something that can always be learned, as I said. So once we get into the practice of, as I said, the four pillars, first pillar is emotional awareness. When we get into practice, yes, everything is sitting there, control emotion, everything is sitting there. But still, when you start practicing, start understanding yourself emotionally, slowly and slowly that would change. So that pattern that is sitting on your brain, once you identify that it is not helping you, it is not serving you, it is not helping you to succeed, progress in life, you will eventually change it. So basically, awareness is the first step towards changing anything that we have learned during the part of our growing. Does it answer you, Gayatri?
Yes, Vidya, partially, but still, the main part goes if you are trained in such a way that your thoughts, the teacher says or whoever says, you are wrong. So that might be very deep in their mind, right? So by the time whatever you are saying, by the time they understand what is going around, half their life is gone.
That's why we have to start early, Gayatri. See, maybe if you ask me, till I joined Dheya, my awareness never got triggered. For me, it started very late in life, but I am very sure that I will be able to get over it. Yes, my 40 years of conditioning, I think I can change it. And I see a positive change already in me. So now, when a child of 17 years of age, if you are able to give the right tools to the child and try to start changing it, it means the child is in a more advantageous position than anyone else, right? Yes, it will take its own time. You're perfectly right, and I agree with you. The 17 years of learning that is sitting, conditioning that is sitting in the child will be very hard, but it is not impossible.
This is Sarayu. This has been one of my areas of research too, and I've read a lot of Daniel Goleman's work and etc. etc. And one of my areas has always been going back to our roots. And what I found immense amount of similarity is in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about somebody who is a sthita prajna. And that aspect has actually come in our culture so many, thousands of years ago. Speaking about all these kinds of intelligences, and if we can actually go back to our roots and read our own scriptures and understand it better, I'm sure, all of us will be able to, probably assimilate and practice it much better. And we don't have to literally wait for the Western world to tell us because it's already there in our culture.
I'm actually a student of psychology currently, and I had a paper on Indian psychology in the last semester, and I fell well in love with that paper. Actually, it's like everything. You are right. Whatever we are going behind Western, we means for everything. Just to assess even our IQ, assess ourselves, promoting, finding leadership qualities, styles, blah blah. There's so many things we are going behind. But you are very right that everything is there in our scripture. The point is, are we understanding it in the right way? It has been twisted so badly that the concept of spirituality or a god or whatever is like it is so much tainted now, right?
It's
You are
political.
exactly
Yeah.
yeah. It is there, but the right way we have to look at it in the right way where it is supposed to be. I think then it works wonders, and there's nothing that we need to look into towards the Western world. Yeah, I'm totally in sync with you.
Sure.
Thanks for sharing that, Sarayu. Yeah.
You're welcome. I think I'll share some of my whatever research that I have done, probably to get your feedback and insights to it. I'll share it
Yeah.
offline. I'll take Niharika as help in that. I had another question. While mentoring a few people at work or anywhere, it has been difficult for me to explain how can one understand their gut feeling. Would you throw some light on that? If somebody is a heavily logically minded person, it's not very easy for them to assimilate or for us to, help them understand what is the gut feeling.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, if you ask me honestly, I too don't have much experience in that. But I can tell you one thing. You said logical, right? When the point that logical mind comes and plays a very bigger role, naturally all this intuition and emotions takes a backseat in someone.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Like what Gayatri said, they have been told, the students have been told to control their emotion and think rationally, which itself is the problem here.
Correct.
So when that can be reversed, and when that can be reversed, and we are asked to first learn from through our emotions, I think intuition and gut feeling and all this could become really easier.
Yeah. And also we kind of train them in unlearning a lot of stuff and then probably understand the other aspect how the brain functions and then help them. But it's still been a journey that I'm trying to, see how it can be fulfilled. But it's not a very easy one for them to, help them understand that feeling. So thank you.
Yeah, it's a journey. I do agree. Yeah. Thanks, yeah. Anyone else?
I would like to ask a question. So in the video, we saw that, we can take the feedback from our peers to understand, to be aware of our own emotions. What is the way to do it? It's a very simple question, very basic one. But how to do that? How to ask for a feedback, especially when you're working in your work environment, how to ask for a feedback.
Actually, feedback requires a lot of open mind, Harika. Okay, my experience is I might say that I want a feedback, I go to manager, but I go with the opinion that this is the answer that I want to hear from him. I want to tell him that I did good. Like this is what I go with, right? But when I go with open mind, that I want to hear to what I can improve with, okay? So that's where it lies. Finally, if it all comes back to you, back to how you are aware about yourself, what is that you want to learn from others? I think it all starts from us. So when I go with an open mind, ask feedback to people with my open mind and listen to them carefully, I can grasp what they're communicating. Plus, I can grasp what is the emotion coming along with it. Do I like that emotion? Do I finally want them to have that emotion when they interact with me? Or I want to change it? It's my choice then. If I feel that no, I want them to feel uncomfortable with me, I'm okay, then it's my choice. Or if I see no, I want to change it. Now I want to be a better person, then it's up to me. Then I'll take the feedback. Okay, I want to change the emotion that they are having when they interact with me, then I can work on it.
Okay, so the basic requirement is to have an open mind, and then I can simply ask for a feedback. So, how to ask for a feedback? What to say to your colleague or your friend?
Do you have feedback process in place? First of all, many companies have that, so that takes care of asking feedback. But when it is a peer, when it is a professional environment, it is not just we are working with them professionally. You spend personal time with people, isn't it, Niharika? So that's where I think plays a role. So when you are spending some personal time with people and you're spending time out with team buildings, project events, I think those are the place that when you open up, okay, when you can break that barrier and really talk to
Right.
people, I think. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thanks to Dheya for giving me this opportunity.